Hello Yellow class. Today's maths I'd like you to do some more measures. Today we're going to be measuring weight, and when we measure weight, instead of using a ruler or a tape measure or capacity when we use the jugs to measure, what we're using today is we're going to need some scales. Now in your house you'll probably have lots of different sets of scales, so you might have some scales like this where you have got a dial on the front. You might be lucky to have some electronic scales, which will mean that you haven't got a dial to read because it will tell you the number down the bottom there. Or you might have some bathroom scales like this. Unfortunately, the bathroom scales aren't going to be particularly useful today unless you're weighing really big things, because these weigh weights that are heavier than you will probably need today. If you've only got these, you might have to find some things that are maybe a little bit heavy to see if you can weigh those. But these are all different sets of scales. And when we're measuring today, we are going to be measuring weight in grams, okay? On a set of scales, you have two different types of reading. On my scales, round the outside in red, I've got something called pounds and ounces. And I'm not measuring in that today. I'm going to be measuring in grams, and grams on mine is on the inside, and on the inside here I've got kilograms and grams. So when I look, when I push down, that's 1 kilogram, that's 2 kilograms, so I can read those off of the scale. On my electronic scales, what I need to do is I need to turn them on. It takes a little while for them to warm up. And when they're warmed up, they're not very happy because there's nothing on them. And they weren't on the side. When I turn them on, I need to make sure I've got a little G at the top there so that I can measure in grams. Otherwise, I'm measuring in ounces and pounds, which is not what I want to measure in today. So, when we're measuring weight, if we're using one with a scale on it, a bit like when we use the ruler, we have to make sure to begin with that our dial is pointing right up at the zero. We can't start just past it or just before it, otherwise we won't be getting an accurate measure for the things that we are weighing. And I've got some bags of things here, so I've got some flour, and on my flour it actually already tells me that it weighs 1 kilogram, but I just wanted to use it to show you how the scales work. So when I put that 1 kilogram of flour on here, hopefully, if the shop have made it right, well, according to my scales, I've just got a little bit more than 1 kilogram, so I did quite well there. So it goes just past the 1 kilogram, so I can see how much flour's in there. And the same on my scales here, you won't be able to see these. Now this again says on the side 1 kilogram, and when I pop that on, hopefully it says 1,015 grams. So again, I've got just over 1 kilogram because there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. Now what I'd like you to do today is find some objects around your house, maybe 5 or 6, and see if you can weigh them to find out how much each of the items weighs. So this apple here weighs 117 grams. Now if you're feeling adventurous and you have got enough produce in, I know at the moment obviously it's quite tricky to buy things in the shop, but it is quite fun if we can use some of our maths to help us in a useful way. If you have got some ingredients and things at home, what would be a good thing is if you can use your measures to maybe measure out things for an ingredients. Maybe you could make a cake or some little fairy cakes or something. Have a look and see. And I know that's a bit tricky, so don't worry if you don't actually get to do some cooking. If you can't cook, you might have to just find some things that you can weigh on the scales. But if you have got some ingredients and you want to do some cooking, please feel free to take photos of what you managed to cook and send them in to me. And I know that my boys want to have a go at doing some cooking over the weekend, so I will show you a picture of anything that we managed to make. So have fun with your weighing, and remember, if you've got a set of scales like this, you must set it on 0 before you start, and the same with these scales here. And do be careful with them, because if you push on the scales, you'll break them, and then your mum and dad won't be very happy with you. So please make sure that you're using the scales carefully and have some fun today measuring some of the different things. And if you do manage to do some cooking, you can write your ingredients and the recipe that you used, you can write that up as your instructions for your literacy lesson today. So make sure you have some fun, and I will see you tomorrow, Yellow class. Goodbye.